Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Nara Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Tonight, it's all about Melissa, meandering Melissa, troublesome Melissa, catastrophic Melissa. It's all about Melissa tonight. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. You will need to share this information. It is trouble in the tropics, ladies and gentlemen. Mega trouble in the tropics. And we're going to talk about it all through tonight. This is no joke. This is Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Tonight we say, pray going out, pray coming in, but always remember, God is in control, and we need Him now. Ladies and gentlemen, trouble in the tropics. We call it trouble in the tropics for real. And just remember, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. Tonight, alongside trouble in the tropics, we have trouble in a home of a brother from a different mother and a sister from a different mother. Courtney Lawrence and also Miss Pauline Lawrence, wife and husband. Courtney Lawrence was a former Air Wing member of the Jamaica Defense Force, and his wife both lost their daughter over 24 hours ago. Our prayers and our condolences go out to that family. They're very close to me. And we want to say, keep your faith. God bless you both. Keep praying. I know what it feels like to lose a child. And we say to Courtney and Miss Pauline that our hearts are with you, our prayers are with you, and we are with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be following up with the arrangements in hours to come. And we also will want to send a prayer out to Mr. Kitson, of the former member of the Jamaica Defense Force. He lost his mother also. And our hearts and prayers and condolences are with that family. We're with you. So we'll follow up on the announcements on that for all former members and members of the Jamaica Defense Force and the security forces that know them or want to give them well wishes. So our platform is open to them at any time, at any moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to trouble in the tropics. We say Tropical Storm Mellisa, now poised to become a hurricane, is going to drop some serious weather in the Caribbean. It is already doing so. It is slated to become a hurricane leading from Category 1, 2, 3, 4, and possibly Category 5. The track of the hurricane is set to take it through Jamaica. So, ladies and gentlemen, please like, share, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell. Most importantly, inform those who are taking it lightly. At this point in time, all meteorologists are saying your preparation for this coming event should have been closed already. the window has closed. From here on out, the weather pattern is going to change rapidly. There's going to be a ton of water, immeasurable amount of water that's going to be dumped on Jamaica, Hispaniola, that's that's Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba, and other countries. The wind factor, in some cases, we've been told that it will go up to somewhere around 200 miles an hour at some instance. Therefore, the sustained wind will be over 100 miles an hour. This is catastrophic. The southern end of the island from Kingston to Alligator Pond will be affected. The sea surge will be mega. I'm reaching out to all the fishermen and all the families in Alligator Pond. Seek higher ground. Please seek higher ground. The water factor, the flooding, is expected to be of immeasurable proportion. Ladies and gentlemen of South Central Jamaica, seek higher ground. Seek a solid structure to watch this pass over. It will meander around Jamaica for days, dropping immeasurable amounts of water over 3, 4 to 5 days. Sustained winds are going to be over 100 miles an hour. That's what we've been told. And also, we've been told in some instances, it will reach up to 200 miles an hour. I'm going to give you some meteorologist perspective from different perspectives. And all the models are now converging to agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a historic event of immeasurable proportion, and also it's going to be something maybe you have never seen before. So I'm going to share my screen and bring to the forefront what we're talking about. This is a big, big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Do not take it lightly. Please do not take this lightly. It is going to be a bad event, a bad weather event. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me share the first video and then I'll comment afterwards. So here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Of it going further towards the east, turning a lot sooner, is showing true. National Hurricane Center has upgraded this to 150 miles per hour sustained winds, a landfalling major hurricane, a strong Cat 4 towards Jamaica. So I'm sure the latest information in this video, what you can expect from latest impacts, those has gone up as well. And you can see with the ensembles, they're all in a good agreement. This is going to turn very sharply to the east, which was always the trend. And as of right now, 150 miles per hour sustained winds, 184 miles per hour wind gusts, and still showing those 200 miles per hour wind gusts could still be possible. Now I'm going to keep doing updates until we have all the latest information so everyone can stay as safe as possible. Might even be one later on this evening into the night, so make sure you subscribe to follow along. And you can see this here by National Hurricane Center all the way down to 150 miles per hour, within inland 120 miles per hour. Still a major hurricane on Jamaica. Rainfall rates has gone up as well, especially over here in Haiti. Now you have chances of 16 inches to 20 inches or 400 to 500 millimeters. Now remember, if you're in Haiti, when this starts coming back even more, remember we always seen it going up to 600 millimeters. So expect this to rise. Definitely expect 2 feet. And we've seen it over here for Jamaica, definitely eastern Jamaica. You can get to 500 in eastern Cuba. This is still only a 3-day rainfall, showing 12 to 16 inches or 300 to 400 millimeters for far eastern Jamaica, and this will impact Kingston greatly. And remember, when you go to higher ground, up in the mountains, the winds are going to be stronger. So you always hide from the winds, but you run from the water. Still showing as you go through Monday evening. You can see over here in reflectivity. As you go through Monday evening through Tuesday morning, you're going to get a lot of the banding hitting across Jamaica. This is bringing a lot of strong winds as well and bringing a lot of flooding and surge all the way until Tuesday afternoon, all the way until late evening on Tuesday, right before a potential landfall happening right there on Wednesday morning for western Jamaica. Overnight, this is going to be a nocturnal landfall potentially. And you can see also with these strong winds that the winds are east side loaded on this storm system, which is going to be bad news, especially over here for Mandeville. There's going to be more updates coming out this afternoon, but the latest update for the next 6 days confirms all the heavy rainfall and still showing over 500 millimeters, 2 feet over here for Jamaica, also for Haiti and going towards Cuba. Showing as you go through Tuesday evening, this is where the storm system is going to start coming in. You're going to start getting a lot of the very strong winds over here. This is going to be the 140, the 100, possible 50 miles per hour sustained winds hitting right east of that core. You see that? It's going right towards Mandeville, Alligator Pond, Maypen, and then eventually over here towards Kingston as it goes further.
So, ladies and gentlemen, look carefully at your screen. You will see where this is expected to concentrate. So, those in Alligator Pond, Mandeville, Maypen, please, Black River, you name it. You need to make absolute, solid, foolproof preparations. Those in low-lying areas or flood-prone areas, please watch the screen, share it, and also tell someone, help someone, because this is going to be catastrophic for these areas. Kingston, Morant Bay, Linstead, or you name it. It's going to be of a mega proportion, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue to listen to this.
Further towards the east as it goes overnight and late evening for Wednesday. It's going to be a very impactful system. It is looking like that landfall for Jamaica. Rainfall is unbelievable. Just until Wednesday. This is your 5-day, just covering over all of Jamaica. All of you is going to be looking at least 10 inches of rainfall towards 22 inches, with wind gusts being somewhere around 130, 140 miles per hour wind gusts covering across the country. So please be aware this is going to be a very serious storm. Make sure you are ready for this. The wave height is going to crash right in by that core as well. So now you're looking at 20, 25, 26 foot waves coming across for Jamaica as this comes across for Wednesday evening. And then the northern side is going to get some strong waves as this system goes right over you. Now you're going to lose power, Jamaica, so pay attention, please, guys. The season is not over. Look at the ensembles showing in the beginning of November, still showing as some kind of tropical wave that could form up around that time. You can see with the Euro, you can see with GFS, they're both in a good agreement that we're going to have some more issues around that time. Just like I showed you yesterday, as we go 6 to 7 days, chance for a tropical system to form. Then as we go literally 10 days away, this is where we're going to get more tropical waves coming across Central America and trying to form up almost in the same spot. And this is how we knew right here, this is your potential velocity anomaly showing a favorable environment is passing through from the end of October to beginning of November and showing multiple times. We could see multiple more storms in our hurricane season, and usually November 30th it'll be over, but showing so far as we go through November, we're going to see a lot of these Caribbean, these Atlantic storms, and maybe go further towards the west as we go through December. This part could change down here. It's just amazing. Maybe hurricane season will last while we're having snowstorm. Now for the lower 48 in the U.S., the severe weather outlook is still the same that I did in my earlier video. It's still showing once we go through the afternoon, once we get around 5 or 6 p.m., we're going to start seeing a lot of robust storms going on. For Texas, Oklahoma, also over here for Washington and Oregon. As we go through the night for 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, you can see how it's pushing winds behind that as well, bringing chances for damage and winds as well as your tornado threat. And you can see as you go through the overnight, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, those storms are still going across Texas, bringing those strong winds. Now, as it goes through 5 and 6, now it's going to start getting stronger again for Texas, and it's going to start going towards Louisiana once you go around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, bringing chances for damage and winds, bringing thunderstorms and chances for hail as well. Then it's going to change as you go through early afternoon. You're going to get this last cluster of storms, and it's going to form up again over here for Saturday evening for Texas. Why are you still getting storms for Washington and Oregon and Idaho, bringing in that snowfall? So for Saturday evening, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock at night, still showing is going to bring damage and winds with those as well, going into northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and still going by Houston all the way towards the Gulf, all the way until Sunday evening. Still showing we're going to have another day for severe weather. And you can see this on rapid refresh as you go through Sunday morning. You're still going to get those storms for Louisiana all the way towards southern Mississippi, bring you a threat for tornadoes and some damage and winds. As you go through 11 and 12 o'clock around noon, those storms are going to move towards southern Alabama and a little bit of the panhandle of Florida before it starts moving through the evening and you lose your instability once again. So far, still showing a big pocket of 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts over here for the northwest. 50 is orange, 60 is in.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's kind of switch out of that. I had to change position for a little bit, so I lost my screen. So there you have it. Catastrophic Mellisa. This is troublesome Mellisa. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. This is not, we're not asking anymore or thinking about it. It's going to happen. So I hope you've been preparing, and I'm going to go through a little list of things that you should prepare for your, you should have prepared, but you still probably have a short window of preparation. So this should be your final step outside that home. If you don't have to, do not. Batten down and buckle up and make sure you're on high ground and also in a sturdy structure, because this is going to be catastrophic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. This is the real deal. So let's take another look at another meteorologist perspective. This has been prepared with AI, and this is what they have to say. Let's bring that to the forefront. Okay, let's bring that up. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring that to you right now. Here we go. Here we go.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Flash lead meteorologist Dave Downey. This is the Friday afternoon update on what is now Tropical Storm Mellisa and what is soon to be, probably Saturday, Hurricane Mellisa. This is shaping up to be a life-threatening, potentially historic storm for some in the Caribbean, especially in Jamaica. This has all the makings of a devastating impact in Jamaica. Let's walk through what we expect out of Mellisa, track and intensity over the next 5 to 7 days. Rainfall, that is going to be the main story with Mellisa because of its very slow motion. First of all, let's show you where it is in the Atlantic right now. You see it over my right shoulder, but here's the current still satellite image. It's starting to get that look. It's just southeast of Jamaica. Here is Jamaica right here. Here's the southwestern tip of Haiti near the top of your screen. This is a still image, but you see the loop over, again, my right shoulder. This is starting to have all the makings of what's going to be an intensifying hurricane, a likely major hurricane by Sunday night into Monday. Hurricane hunters were in the storm earlier, found it strengthening and actually moving a bit to the east here. Saw a central pressure of 998 millibars. When that number drops, that means the strength is increasing and the wind speeds are also increasing. It's not moving a whole heck of a lot, and we're going to see that continue over the next 24 hours or so. There's another recon flight that's scheduled to head in there in about a half an hour, and the Hurricane Center, the Air Force Reconnaissance Division, and NOAA, they're all sending all hands on deck to this storm at least every 6 hours. Recon flights going into Melissa to examine its structure. Here is why Melissa is primed to strengthen likely rapidly over the next 2 or 3 days. Right now, it's again just to the southeast of Jamaica. This is the hottest ocean water in the Caribbean and maybe in the northern hemisphere right now in the Caribbean Sea, just south of Jamaica. And not only that, not only is it hot on the surface, we're seeing SSTs, which is sea surface temperatures, upwards of 30 degrees Celsius, well into the 80s Fahrenheit, close to 90 Fahrenheit. But how about the subsurface, the depth of the warm water? Sometimes when these hurricanes stay over the same areas and just churn the water up, that way the storm can lose its source of fuel. But there's so much depth in the warmth of the water in the Caribbean. All of these hot reds, hot whites in the Caribbean means the water is very warm, not just on the surface, but 50 to upwards of 100 feet below the surface. October and November, the busiest times of the year usually for Caribbean activity because of this. Usually the Caribbean, this part of it, is the hottest this time of the year, and especially anywhere in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, or the Gulf. Let's take you through what we expect out of Melissa over the next several days. We're going to show you the European model. The GFS American model has done the worst by far with this storm and had it making landfall over Haiti today, a couple of days ago. That is not happening. So the American model, its operational run at least, can be thrown out. Its ensemble has done a little bit better, but the European has been very, very consistent on its solution with Melissa through next week and its ultimate track. So today into the weekend, slow strengthening. I'll put on surface pressures here. It's pretty close. This is as of this morning at 10 a.m. So this is looking back in time at 10:03 millibars. It's strengthening trend over the next couple of days, not a whole lot. By tomorrow morning, only dropping a few millibars to 995. But then by the time we get to Sunday morning, look at this. This is 7 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday, drop to 967. Again, the lower that central pressure number, the stronger the storm at this point. This is probably a Category 2 hurricane. Doesn't do a ton of strengthening on Sunday, but by the time you wake up Monday morning, 950 millibars at 10 a.m. Eastern time Monday morning. That's approaching major hurricane strength. And the European model, these global models with not a very fine resolution, a tenth of a degree in resolution means it has to run over kind of a wider grid space. You don't really see intense hurricanes on these globally run models, but still you get a central pressure down to 939 Tuesday afternoon, which is about the time the Euro has a landfall on the island of Jamaica, Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening, and then a second landfall into eastern Cuba. This would be Wednesday afternoon. I do want to show you the hurricane models. Let's show you the HAFS B hurricane model. You're going to see a lower pressure with this one, but a very similar track. I think the HAFS gets this down to 907 for a central pressure. That is a Category 5 hurricane. Winds, I'm sure we're talking 180 plus here. 150 sustained, or this is peak gust, and then a landfall right in the center of the island of Jamaica. The HAFS B with a very solution as well. I'll show you the European ensemble. We showed you this a few days ago, shows the degree of uncertainty, the probability of a hurricane strike, or really the confidence in the forecast at a certain lead time. This is 51 different runs of the future. This is Sunday morning at 11 a.m. here. A decent agreement of the storm likely being southwest of Jamaica, a good amount of clustering there. And then we'll take this into Monday. This is Monday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern Monday evening. A little bit more spread. I think you can discount these outliers north and east and south and west. So you're left with this batch of solutions right here, which does make sense if you look at the ensemble mean. That is exactly where the ensemble mean is here on Monday evening. So,
And the ensemble means it's just where We lost our feed, ladies and gentlemen. So we have to reset our studio. We lost internet connection. So let's see what's going on here. My goodness gracious me. These things do happen. It's going to happen a lot more in Jamaica. Okay. So we lost our internet connection. And we were just about to get into the second of our, well, the third of our video highlights of what is expected over this catastrophic weather event in the Caribbean. That's in Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and also Cuba, and so on. Do prepare. This is crunch time. Your preparations should have been finalized if they're not. So let's tell our friends, help our friends, help somebody to get prepared. It's going to be a big, mega, catastrophic event of historic proportions. Ladies and gentlemen, don't take it lightly. Find higher ground, especially those in Alligator Pond or along the coastline of Jamaica, especially the south coast. It's happening. It's going to be of mega proportions. The storm surge is going to be historic. That water is going to churn up, and it's coming in. Prepare. Oswald, you know what to do. This is not your first rodeo. That little Ochi, you know what to do. It's not your first rodeo. It's not going to be easy. Find higher ground. All those people along the south coast. Check this out. I'm going to give you another video so you can understand what I'm talking about. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. I'm also going to go over a preparation list of what you should have prepared. Listen to the government announcements about preparedness, what they are preparing, where the shelters are, how to get in contact, how to protect yourself, where to go, what to do. Emergency management is real. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me share this with you, and then we're going to discuss it. Okay, here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Tracking a monster in the Caribbean. Let me show you this storm system that is expected to stall out. Look at these winds grow. This model, the European, shows 190 mile per hour winds, and it shows 30 to 40 inches of rain in areas of Jamaica, Cuba, and the Cayman Islands. This storm system is going to stall out for not 1, not 2, but 5 days. That really piles up the winds and the rain here for Jamaica and Cayman Islands. This is going to be a 1-2 punch. After days of flooding rain in Jamaica, the system moves overhead with winds on this model at 192 miles per hour. This would then push up through eastern tip of Cuba. Again, impacts from the Cayman Islands to Puerto Rico with this, up through Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and then the Turks and Caicos. We're still talking 160 plus mile per hour winds, a Cat 5 on this model. Then it spills up toward the north and east. This would then go toward Bermuda. This is a big time storm system with impacts all throughout the Caribbean here. With a cold front moving through the eastern half of the United States, it's going to push this just south of Florida and the Bahamas and keep them protected from this storm system. But this is a disaster in the making here for the Caribbean islands, with flooding threats and wind threats that will need to be monitored for days to come.
Okay, you've heard that, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. It's no joke, ladies and gentlemen. This is really not a joke. Help those who can't help themselves. I'm going to go over 2 more videos. Then I'm going to go through a checklist for you of what you should prepare. It's going to be a general checklist. Some things will not be relevant to you, but most of it will be. Okay? So I want you to listen carefully of when the models are saying this is going to be a major hurricane that hits Jamaica, and you will be the judge of your area. I think the East Coast is going to feel it first, or most firstly. Then it travels on. It's going to be around for days. It's going to create a lot of damage. So tell your friends on the coastlines, in flood-prone areas, in low-lying areas, in areas where you have mudslides. As the meteorologist said earlier, run from the water, hide from the wind. Okay, you've been told. So let's check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's remove that and bring the real deal to the stage here now. Okay. How are you feeling? Have you been? You can tell me in the comment section. We'll be broadcasting live throughout the event. You can send in your videos and your pictures, and if you have communication, you can contact us and we'll audio.
Mellisa about to take off to the races and grow into a monster Category 5. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice. It is already raining in areas of the Caribbean, and they could not stand another drop of rain here in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, where there's already been landslides, and this storm is just getting going. Unfortunately, it has found a new center of circulation, and I'm afraid it's about to rapidly intensify, becoming not only a hurricane, but a Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4 over the next 48 hours. And unfortunately, it only barely moves, which means that rain wrapping around is going to continue for the Hispaniola Mountains, where we've had those landslides, and Jamaica is about to take a 3-day lashing from intense wind, intense rain. And once you get so much of that rain to pile up, that's going to be a flooding problem. And then the final punch comes through as a Cat 4, Cat 5 with winds between 150 and 175 miles per hour on our models. In fact, I'll show you one in just a moment that shows 200 mile per hour winds are possible. Then it goes up through Cuba by midweek. Our spaghetti models are thankfully in better agreement here, unfortunately so for Jamaica. One of those situations where it's best to get off of that island of Jamaica. Find somewhere sturdy structure to be in, because that is going to be a big, big deal for Eastern Cuba and Jamaica. Let me show you one of those models. This is the European. It shows those winds beginning to approach Jamaica by Tuesday into Wednesday. And you see those blues there? That's the model breaking my key that I had made that went up to 200 miles per hour. This is showing 204 to 209 mile per hour wind gusts going up over Jamaica. And then that travels up through Cuba, the Turks and Caicos, and then eventually over close to and near Bermuda in the coming days. As far as rain is concerned, that's going to be a major problem here, with it continuing day after day with this stall outlook. Jamaica to Eastern Cuba over the Dominican Republic, that's going to be as much as 40 inches of rain before it's all said and done.
cordial greeting. Today is Friday, October 24th, 2025. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 5 p.m. local time in Jamaica, where the outlook is not very encouraging since the latest projections indicate that Tropical Storm Mellisa could pass over Jamaica as a Category 4 or Category 5 hurricane, possibly being the most intense hurricane on record to affect Jamaica. This is why residents of Jamaica are urged to immediately complete their preparations and seek a safe place to shelter while the storm lasts, which unfortunately will affect the island for a period of 3 to 4 days. And as I did in the morning video, I would like to read the key messages shared by the National Hurricane Center in the 5 p.m. advisory, taking into consideration that Tropical Storm Mellisa has begun to strengthen and at any moment will begin a process of rapid intensification. For Jamaica, the National Hurricane Center notes that due to Melissa's slow movement, a prolonged multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall capable of producing potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides is likely to begin between Saturday night and Sunday. There is an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surge when the circulation center approaches Jamaica early next week. Preparations to protect life and property should be completed urgently. Meanwhile, for Haiti, the following statement has also been issued. Heavy rainfall will cause catastrophic flash flooding and landslides across southwestern Haiti through early next week. Extensive damage to roads and buildings is expected, potentially isolating communities for an extended period. Immediate action should be taken to protect life and property. Strong winds could last a day or more over the Tiburon Peninsula and Haiti. In addition, for the Dominican Republic, they state the following. Heavy rainfall could produce potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides across southern portions of the Dominican Republic. Meanwhile, for eastern Cuba and the Bahamas, the following has been issued. Interests in Cuba and the Bahamas should monitor the progress of Melissa since there is an increasing risk of significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall.
I'm not sure if this microphone is working. I have no idea. Okay. I'm not sure if this microphone is working. Okay, so seems to just got back on. Okay, here we go.
By the middle of next week, the risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides is increasing for eastern Cuba. So, some very strong words from the National Hurricane Center, giving us an idea of how dangerous Tropical Storm Mellisa is and how difficult the situation is for the Caribbean. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Tropical Storm Mellisa has begun to strengthen and currently has maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour or 105 kilometers per hour. And as we can see in the visible satellite animation, the structure looks more organized, and we can see the development of some bands, which are signs that it will begin to strengthen rapidly starting tonight. So unfortunately, the forecast we've been discussing for several days is coming true, where the system was expected to encounter extremely favorable conditions for intensification, compounded by the fact that it will move very slowly across the area toward the south and over Jamaica, with rainfall continuing to affect Haiti and the Dominican Republic. In the next image, we can clearly see how the circulation center has become more defined and organized, and we also see the development of bands in the southeastern quadrant that will help the system strengthen. Possibly, by the early hours of Saturday morning, we will already have a Category 1 hurricane. On the other hand, notice that there is also a strong band of thunderstorms affecting southern and eastern Dominican Republic, where significant flooding has been reported since yesterday, and unfortunately, the rain will continue to move over the area throughout the weekend. In addition, some bands have reached Puerto Rico, where rainfall totals between 1 and 3 inches have also been recorded. In fact, according to the latest projections for southern Dominican Republic and Haiti, this weekend through Sunday, rainfall totals between 200 and 400 millimeters are expected in southern Dominican Republic, and between 200 and up to 800 millimeters in parts of Haiti's Tiburon Peninsula. So, a complex situation as well for Hispaniola even though the circulation center will remain far from the area. Now then, during the past 24 hours, we've seen that Tropical Storm Mellisa has had erratic movement since its circulation was very weak and has been reorganizing. However, in the latest advisory, it has begun moving northward again. And as we can see, the trajectory models this afternoon show a west-northwest movement during the next 3 to 4 days and then bring the circulation center over eastern or central Jamaica. Starting Tuesday, it will begin moving northeastward, reaching eastern Cuba and then the southern Bahamas between Wednesday and Thursday. Unfortunately, we are seeing the worst-case scenario, in which rapid intensification models indicate that during the next 36 hours, Mellisa could strengthen from a tropical storm to a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane, and in about 3 days, that is, by Sunday, we could have a Category 4 or even Category 5 hurricane as it moves over Jamaica. In the 5 p.m. advisory, the National Hurricane Center forecasts that during the early hours of Saturday, it will be a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane, and by Saturday night or early Sunday morning, a Category 3 hurricane, then strengthening into a Category 4 or nearly Category 5 hurricane south of Jamaica by Monday afternoon, with maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, or 250 kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, the forecast indicates it could pass right through the middle of the island of Jamaica, leaving the most dangerous quadrant over the city of Kingston. At this time, a tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch remain in effect for Jamaica, while a tropical storm warning and hurricane watch are also in effect for southern Haiti. Then, by Thursday night, it should be crossing Santiago de Cuba in eastern Cuba, possibly as a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane, depending on how much it weakens if it crosses Jamaica during the afternoon and evening on Wednesday, reaching parts of the southern Bahamas. Now I will show some projections from the intensity models. For example, one model shows a Category 4 hurricane approaching southern Jamaica Monday morning, while another shows a Category 5 hurricane with a central pressure of 900 millibars approaching Jamaica around midday Monday. And another specialized intensity model also shows a Category 5 hurricane with a central pressure of 911 millibars approaching Jamaica Monday night. So everything seems to indicate that Jamaica will experience the worst part of the cyclone between Sunday and Monday. However, remember that its slow movement will leave tropical storm force winds beginning Saturday and lasting through Wednesday. Overall, the ensemble members from different models agree on this general track, although there is still some spread regarding exactly where the circulation center will enter over Jamaica, as well as the areas of eastern Cuba and the southern Bahamas. This is the ensemble projection of the American model, and compared with the European model, we see generally the same scenario. The vast majority of members show a track over Jamaica, dramatically increasing the likelihood of impact on the island, and then moving into parts of eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. On the other hand, the National Hurricane Center notes that the projection from Google's artificial intelligence model, which has been very accurate this year, unfortunately shows all members depicting a Category 4 or 5 hurricane making landfall somewhere over Jamaica, and then continuing as a Category 3 or 4 hurricane over eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. So, a very unfortunate situation if these model projections come true. Let's briefly look at the impacts anticipated according to the European model, which has a track very similar to that of the National Hurricane Center. The model projects that between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the system should strengthen, and by Monday it could reach Category 4 or Category 5 intensity before moving over Jamaica, which, if it happens, would make it the most intense cyclone in Jamaica's history. Then, between Tuesday night and Wednesday, the cyclone crosses eastern Cuba and the southern Bahamas with some wind gusts over 220 kilometers per hour. So if you live between Las Tunas, Campechuela, Santiago de Cuba, and Alguin, you should prepare for the effects of a major hurricane. Now, I would like to zoom in on the island of Jamaica so you can see the projection of the highest wind gusts expected during the passage of future Hurricane Mellisa over the region. And notice that between Tuesday and Wednesday, some wind gusts over 275 kilometers per hour could affect parts of central and eastern Jamaica, including Kingston. Remember that these winds could also cause an extreme storm surge event capable of flooding coastal regions. And as if that weren't enough, the cyclone's slow movement will cause excessive rainfall accumulations. According to the latest projection from the European model, between 700 and 800 millimeters of rainfall could accumulate over the next 7 days in Jamaica, while for eastern Cuba and the southern Bahamas, totals between 200 and 300 millimeters are expected. So please, if you live in a flood-prone area, whether in eastern Cuba, Jamaica, southern Haiti, or southern Dominican Republic, you should relocate to a safe place while the storm passes. And remember that there is still some possibility that changes could arise in the forecast. As an example, The American model has a track over eastern Jamaica, with wind gusts of 175 kilometers per hour. That is, a Category 3 or 4 hurricane, and then continues on a path between Cuba and Haiti. This means that areas of western Haiti should also prepare for hurricane impacts in case the track shifts farther east. Under this projection, the highest rainfall totals could occur in southwestern Haiti and southern Dominican Republic, with additional rainfall accumulations exceeding 400 millimeters. Well, that's all for this forecast update on what will soon.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what you need to know. I seem to have a microphone problem, so I've switched to another microphone. So let's hope that it's coming through to you loud and clear. Okay, so let's check this out. Here we go. So we're going to go through a little checklist. This checklist is going to help you to understand what you should have been prepared. You should have prepared already for this event. So I'm going to share that with you in a second. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. Here we go. Let's share my screen. Here we go. And I will. Okay, here it is. I'm going to share this. Okay, let's see. All right. So hopefully you're seeing this quite clearly. Let me check on it here. Okay. Should be clear enough. Okay, so this is AI generated. So everyone can look at it and know exactly what they need to prepare. All right, so let's go through this step by step. So it says here, to prepare for a hurricane, create a family emergency plan and assemble a survival kit with at least 3-day supply of water. I think you should put together a lot more than that with this event moving so slowly through the Caribbean. And you should prepare non-perishable food and other essentials like a first aid kit, flashlight, and batteries. Before the storm, secure your property by bringing in or anchoring outdoor items, covering windows and cleaning gutters, while also making sure your car is fueled and ready to go if you need to evacuate. So if you notice, I've been saying that over past podcasts that you need to have fuel. You got to fill that car up. You know what I mean? Make sure that in the event that you have to move at a moment's notice, you have enough fuel to do so. Also, you got to batten down those roofs, windows, doors, you name it. You got to batten up because the wind factor is going to be enormous here. It's going to be catastrophic. You know, you're talking about over 100 miles an hour wind. Sometimes, according to the data, it may go up to 200 miles an hour. And also, it's going to be sustained over days with the rain factor coupled to that and the flood factor coupled to that. That's a recipe for disaster. So you got to be ready. You know what I mean? And make sure you secure all your canned goods and dry goods, you know, with plastics and so on. Have everything prepared that if you have to move, ladies and gentlemen, you have your first aid, flashlight, food, water, you know what I mean, so that you can at least survive the first 3 days. Also, and you'll see a picture of the hurricane kit. You get what I'm saying? So there you go. And I'm getting a little bit tired here, so I got to cut until tomorrow. So here we go. We're going to check a few other things here on our list. Let's scroll down. It says, create a family emergency plan. Designate an out-of-state contact or Designate a contact of somebody not in your household, somewhere far away, maybe overseas or in a different parish, or in the Caribbean or a different side of the world. You know what I mean? So, but have a designated out of your immediate vicinity contact. Um, have a place to stay and discuss your evacuation routes. So plan that ahead of time. So if you need to get out of where you are, you know which direction to go and where you're going. You know what I mean? Where you're going to be staying at. So it's always good to know where the shelters are, the government shelters, and also have a contact information or some sort of way to communicate with that emergency shelter so that they can come and get you. All right. So two-way radios are good. Um, if the phone lines go down, more than likely you'll still have some radio contact, at least in a short distance. So also, as it says, assemble an emergency. Well, let's see. Assemble an emergency kit. Gather at least 3 days of supply of necessities, including water, non-perishable goods, a first aid kit, flashlights, extra batteries, and a battery-powered or hand crank radio. Remember, in my last podcast or last couple of podcasts, I've been telling you about those little battery radios that could be a lifeline. So make sure you have batteries and a radio. Some phones do have that function. I don't it's not widespread, but if you have an old one, you probably want to look it up now and see and check if it's working. Charge it up, charge up all your um power banks, and also remember where your generator is. Go check it out, give it a start, put the oil in, put the mix the oil. I don't know what type you have, but put the fuel in and crank it up and see if it works. You know what I mean? You want to make sure it's working before you actually need it. It may need plugs or need a little service. You still have a short window to get that done to make sure that you're absolutely ready. So also remember to batten down those cars. The cars could be also a lifeline for you, just in case the generator is not working and you need to put the kids in the car or charge your devices in the car. So make sure you have extra um, power cords, and also that the power outlets in the car is working. You got to check that now. Maybe it needs a fuse, change the fuse or something. You know what I mean? So you want to check to make sure all of that is working. All right. So that's now the next segment is secure your home and property. Bring all outdoor items in, like lawn furniture, garbage cans, and so on, chairs, and anything loose that can be stored inside. Take it inside if it's important to you. If it's loose, get it tied down so that the winds don't pick it up. Because when you talk about 100 miles an hour winds, that's lifting roofs, ladies and gentlemen. So if there's something light outside, then it will, move it like a frisbee. You know what I mean? So you got to be absolutely careful and not to be moving around in when it's the wind is coming at you or even away from you. This is going to be a big, big deal. So you got to take heed, ladies and gentlemen. So you got to trim trees and branches that could fall on your home. All right. So that's critical that you trim away all those trees and branches that are hanging over or close to the house. And, that could damage the roof, damage the windows or doors, because the wind is going to be moving around, not in one direction. It's going to be, you'll feel as if it's coming at you from many different directions when it's not. circles anti-clockwise, but where it goes, it also comes back. Not It's not funny, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just trying to calm myself down, and I'm not even there. So also clean gutters and downspouts. You know, wherever the water goes when it comes through the gutters, you need to clean that too. You got to prevent flooding, especially in your home or around it. Protect windows with permanent shutters or pre-cut plywood. So whatever you can use in terms of wood, um, put it, secure those windows. I know those windows are expensive, but also if you don't secure them and a debris or the wind shatters them, then you're in for a rude awakening because all that wind is going to come inside, and you're not going to like that, especially if you have kids around. That's not going to be a very good thing. Perhaps for potential power outage, if you have power outage, which you will, gauge all electronic devices and their power bank. Remember, I told you about that in previous podcasts. I said save your batteries. Do not overuse those tools, those electronics, because you're going to need it. It's going to be a long event, weather event. So this weather event is going to last days. So you want to gauge your usage. I'm sure you're going to be tempted to take videos or do video calls and so on. I think if it's not an emergency, or if you want to do so, pace yourselves so you can preserve your battery life, especially if you do not have a way to recharge those power banks, or the charging cable in the cars are not working. Then that's a different story. But for the most part, try to keep conserve power in those power banks. Also, let's see. Fill bathtubs and containers with water for flushing toilets and washing. That's a very critical thing to do. So the bathtub is a great container, but if you have those plastic drums, you can fill them up as well. Other smaller containers like 5 gallon jugs and buckets, and also your 1 gallon plastic jugs, or what fill them up, because you're gonna need as much water as you can for flushing the toilet. It takes a lot to flush the toilet. But you don't want to have things sitting around in there for days upon days, because you're gonna be sorry about that, because you're gonna be locked up due to the fact that the hurricane is gonna be around for 2, 3 days, even up to 5 days. So here we go. Um, Also, fill your car's gas tank and have some cash on hand, as ATMs and credit card machines may not work. That's absolutely critical that you have cash. Cash, ladies and gentlemen, because when the power goes, then credit card machines don't work. So cash is going to be king. You know what I mean? So make sure you have some cash on hand, and you got to make sure that it's secure. You remember where grandma used to hide it in Ayaso, or all the men used to hide it down there, so and tie it up. I'm trying to remember the name that the older folks used to call it. Is that your bob or something like that? So you got to tie it up and make sure you secure it, because that's going to be your lifeline too. Because if everything washes away, you have a little cash tied onto your bob, then you at least you'll survive a day, or a little while, until you get help. Gather important documents. Collect critical documents like insurance policies, medical records, and identifications, and so on, and make them waterproof. Put them in Ziploc bags, or put them where it's waterproof. So you'll figure that part out. Also, keep them in a waterproof container in a safe place. Only a few people have that. But a you know what's very airtight? Paint. You know these gallon paint cans, or even the smaller ones. The paint cans are very airtight if you slam them shut. So you can put stuff in that. If you have the empty ones, you can put stuff in there and close it. Close that lid. Close it tight, and you'll have an airtight container. Um, but you can also put together other things that are going to be airtight. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We keep all of these important documents waterproof or in a waterproof container in a safe place. So if you put it in the paint can, you got to tie it up. You know, it has a handle. You can, or you have something that's waterproof, like a carry bag or something that is deemed waterproof, but still secure them with plastic inside of plastics and all that good stuff, and double them so that you can, if anything happens, the water will not seep through and damage them. Um, During the hurricane, stay informed, monitor the local news and weather reports for updates on the storm's progress. So that's important to a lot of people because what we're going to be doing here as part of your option is to go live every day until we see it necessary not to do so about the hurricane and the victims and so on and the damages and so on. So we're relying on the public, the general public, to come forward with videos, and you can call in and all that good stuff. You can come in live if you can. I'm not telling you to do that because you need to preserve your power. But if you know you're able to and it will not compromise your safety, then you can contact us and send in your videos. Come on to the show live. Tell us what's going on in your area. But if it's not, and you need to get a message out, if it's not an emergency, and you need to get your message out because you're isolated, but the internet is coming in and out, and you cannot contact someone else through regular means, then please do contact us, and we'll do our best to try to get that message out or get the message out for you to whom it may concern. Okay, so that's a beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen. So you have that option to call into NARAM Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show, to as a lifeline. So keep this show going for you. Evacuate if told to do so. Leave immediately if you are in an evacuation zone and an order was issued. Okay, so that's pretty much straightforward. Turn off utilities if necessary. If you have to leave your home or if you see flooding or down power lines, switch off your main power, gas, and also water supply. Now, that's extremely important that you switch off those breakers, especially, during the height of the storm. So I hope you have your candles and your lamps and so on, so you can have light in that time. Because when the hurricane is passing through, or the bad weather at that kind of intensity or with those high winds, you need to turn off that power because you may damage something else. You know what I mean? Because those lines are going to and fro, and you may create more damage than what even the hurricane created. So and I'm saying hurricane because it's not yet there, but I'm calling it a hurricane right now because that's where it's trending to. So also stay away from windows and doors because you have projectiles at 150 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour, even 100 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour is catastrophic. You know what I mean? That's a recipe for disaster if you're by a window and a projectile is coming at that speed. Now, you may not live to tell the tales, So you got to stay away from doors and windows. Stay in an interior room, meaning that a room that is not close to the walls of the walls that face the outer part of the building. So those four walls. Stay in the interior, so that you have some cushion just in case that will happen to you. Well, happen to your property, that is. So let's move forward again. Mhm. Okay, I may want to touch this video just to give you some idea of um, how to prepare. So let's check this video out for a second. Hold on. Let's go.
You'll need a first aid kit, dust mask, moist towelettes, garbage bags, and plastic ties for hygiene and sanitation. Also, pack plastic sheeting and duct tape for emergency shelter. And keep a wrench or pliers handy to shut off gas or water if needed. Protect your important documents, ID, insurance, medical records, and keep a written list of the names of your prescribed medications, dosage, prescribing doctor, and pharmacy contact information. Keep these documents sealed in a waterproof container or zip bag. And don't forget, chargers, power banks, or even a solar charger to keep devices alive. If you have kids, seniors, or pets, prep for them too. For babies, you'll need things like baby formula, diapers, medications. For seniors, medicines and medical devices. For pets, food, water, leash, a crate, and any medications. I put all my hurricane season essentials in a plastic tub, so everything is handy if I'm at home and ready to throw in my car in the case of an evacuation. If you evacuate, don't forget comfort and clothing. A week's worth of clothes per person, hygiene supplies, sleeping bag, or blanket. Also, very important, some cash in small bills. Make sure you have a printed evacuation map showing you how to efficiently leave the area in case you need to evacuate. Hurricanes don't give much notice. A ready-to-go kit makes all the difference. Pack it now and make sure everyone in your household knows where it is. Make sure you have home and flood insurances in case you need them. HGAC has you covered. Visit us at h-gac.com.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That's kind of a general overview of how you should prepare for a hurricane, because there's no notice. I think I've been removed. My audio is down. So that's not a good thing. Okay, so it looks like my audio is back. I'm not too sure if you've been hearing me. That would that would be catastrophic too. But the hurricane does not give notice. It can switch, turn, just make changes on the whim. There's no control switch for it. Only God is in control here, you know. So, guys, you gotta prepare. Tell one to tell the other. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. I'm gonna go over all of this again tomorrow. We're gonna try to track this as much as possible. The phone lines are open. You can comment and also call us if you want to discuss a few things. If you're what you want to send us videos and so on, please do. I'm going to put the link down below and all the information down below, so you know what to do and where to go. So you can call us if needs be. Just look down below and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me move this banner out of the way. Okay, you'll see it scrolling down below, right down there. The numbers are there. You can call in 347-819-1982. That's the WhatsApp number, or 914 292-9452. That's the straight line. And 1658. That's a Jamaica number, 205-2859. That's also a WhatsApp number. So you can always call me, whether you're in the Dominican Republic or in Haiti, Cuba, or if you're in Jamaica, the Bahamas, wherever you are, and the weather is hitting, you can always call us here to find out, to get information, or to put out information, or to send us your videos, or have a discussion. Maybe you're lonely and you have a lot of power banks and enough supplies, and you want to have a conversation during that time, if you still have communication, or after the event or before, then you can always contact us. That we're here for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not yet the intense moment. So leading up to it, we're going to go live every day, and especially when it hits, we're going to be live here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to close it off tonight, and we say, always pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, and always remember, God is in control. God bless each and every one of you. And we say, stay safe. Share this video. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. It's extremely important that you do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. Go to higher ground. Go to a solid building, like a brick building with a deck. You know what I mean? So you go inside and you lock it down. Because this is not going to be an easy weather to face. You don't want to see it. Because when it lifts those roofs, only God will help you at that time. You know what I mean? So seek higher ground, especially those in the low-lying areas along the coast, especially the south coast. I'll get upon guys. Yeah, bunch of grip. Rona Oswald, let's go. You know what I mean? Taras and all the crew. You're low. So you need to go to higher ground. All right? So if you're facing the sea, you gotta run away from the water. That storm surge is coming. Each one help one. Be your brother's keeper. This is not the time for enemies. This is the time to band together and share resources, work together to secure your properties and secure yourself. After this event, I'm going to go live to also solicit help for those who need help in Jamaica. So check down below. You'll see my contact information. Put it on speed dial. Save it in the cloud so that you can get to it if something happens to your device. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, please be careful. Stay safe. This is Naram Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. And we say, stay safe. We'll see you at the next show tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, until we say it's time to cool it down. You know what I mean? For now, we're going to intensify and bring it all the way through this event. We're here with you, and we're here for you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. God bless you all. And I'll see you at the next show. Naram Promotions is at you.